Incredible to
Yeah.
have, I mean, in a society where a lot of people do not even have fathers that are present,
Yeah.
they could even be present physically and absent
Yeah.
emotionally as well. So it's very incredible that
Yeah.
he has shaped the man that
No,
you
he
all
was
are
very
today.
present and he was very, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. But how would you say your relationship with your dad has helped you to see God and see life in general?
He actually portrayed what the book is saying we should be like. So when you look to him, you could see, okay, that's a great example. So he was a actual practical example of what of how we should be. So it wasn't hard for us to learn um, how to be a man, a good man, a godly man, a respectful man, a man who kind of like who's loving, you know what I'm saying? He was that. You could see it in the way he treated things. There's so many households, Christian households, that are very religious, and
Religious, yeah.
the parents are very religious minded people, and that affects a lot of young people as they grow up. It draws them away from God.
Because they see that Christianity as this
Yeah.
very harsh way of living. Like, do
Rigid.
this, don't do that. And
Yeah,
it's a lot of
if you
instructions.
don't do that, hell. If you don't do that, hell. If you don't do the things, hell. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's
true.
like, no, God is loving. If you don't do that, grace. If you don't do that, grace, more
That's
grace.
beautiful.
If you don't do that, He'll still be there.
True.
He
He
will,
loves you
he'll
regardless.
follow you until you get to a point where you find and understand Him for yourself.
And how you view your dad is how you view God. If your dad is strict, then you see God as the strict father who's
Facts.
unforgiving.
Facts.
If you view your dad as a provider, then you generally go to God and say, God, you're my provider. This is what I'm waiting
That's so
for you.
good.
If your father is
That's good,
gracious,
yeah.
you see God as a very gracious father. So
Yeah.
just how your father has raised you or your relationship with him
Yeah.
also sort of affects how you
How you
and
view
God
God.
relate. Hello, lovely people. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Living in Fullness podcast. Today, I have a special guest. Not new to the podcast, though. He was there in season 1 on the Singles Men podcast. So if you want to do yourself a favor, go and catch up. So I'm excited to have you. How are you, Sihle?
I'm fine. Hi everyone. That's good.
Good. So Sihle identifies as a multi-talented individual. He pursued his creative interest at Vegas School of Brand Leadership, specializing in copywriting. His creativity extends beyond advertising. His roots in music run deep as the son of the gospel legend Bishop Benjamin Dube. He is a singer and songwriter, forming part of the renowned gospel trio Dube Brothers. Apart from music and advertising, he explores other talents like presenting, emceeing, acting, motivational speaking, and voiceovers. He co-hosted the Ingoma Awards alongside Rory Sang Tandekiso and currently co-hosts Gospel Avenue with Kaya Mutetwa. That's an extensive CV,
Yeah,
basically. I had to shorten it, actually. It's an amazing CV.
Yeah,
Yes.
like I try to put everything that I needed in there.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff that are not even on there that I've done recently. So it's
Yes,
yeah.
because I actually removed some of
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
But then when I was reading about it, I was like, this is such an amazing bio. I mean, I wish I could read it for all of you guys, but listen, we're not going to get into it.
Yeah,
And
it's
recently featured on The River, if you haven't watched him as a doctor, do yourself a favor. It was such an amazing scene. How was that?
Oh man, it was fun. I won't lie. I mean, it's The River is one of the biggest, telenovelas in SA. So for me to be part of that was pretty big for me. You know, I mean, because
Yeah.
I'm still working my way up. I am an actor, but I believe I am working my way up. So I call myself an upcoming. So
Yeah.
So for me to be on The River, I think it's a great, kind of like a elevation to where I want to go, to where I want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, with acting, I always wonder at what point should you stop calling yourself upcoming? Because, I mean, if I've done a few roles, surely I am an actor.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Someone actually said that on one of my comments. 'Cause I posted on Instagram and they're like, "No, sir, not upcoming.
Yes,
Actor."
put that.
And I'm like, okay, fine.
Take away the upcoming. We're no
Fine.
longer calling you upcoming now. But listen, I want to start with your music career because last time you were here, I was speaking about love, about dating and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
now we want to really get to know who Sihle Dube is, right?
Sweet.
So tell me about your music journey. When did it begin? What inspired you starting music and getting into it?
It's I grew up in a musically inclined family. Like I said, man, in my CV, it's my dad being Bishop Benjamin Dube, like the legend in the gospel industry. We grew up in music. We woke up. Our alarm was music.
Yeah.
Till today, like I do nothing without music. Like I when I'm bathing, it's music. When I'm just making food, it's music in the background.
Yeah.
It's just music, music, music. So it's been in my veins ever since I was born, and it's my purpose. That's the first thing I knew that God gave me. That's the first thing that God told me or revealed to me that He gave me that I have. So that naturally became a thing of okay. The transition over the years became okay, cool. So what do I do with the singing gift? What do I do? I learned early that I could write songs. So what do I do with this writing songs gift, and composing and stuff like that. So then that's how my dad noticed the gifts in all of us, the three brothers.
Yeah.
There's actually five brothers, but the three main, yeah.
The singers.
Yeah, the seniors. The seniors. So he saw the gift and he was like, okay, cool. Let's put you guys in a song. Then we did a song called Holy, Holy on one of his albums. That branched us out because people then started to ask, where are the brothers? And that time we hadn't actually been formed officially.
Okay.
Yeah, we were not. We were just like Benjamin Dube and Sons on the song. Then after that song, we're like, okay, cool, let's form a group, and then we just call ourselves Dube Brothers. And then, and then from there, then history. It's history from there. And then we just went on. We have 2 albums out now. A lot of features on our dad's album and Spirit of Praise. Been on there for a minute. So that became who I am today.
You guys have such amazing voices. The day that I was calling you, I was like, wait, I probably need all 3 of you here. I was
Very
like,
hard
let me
to get that done. But
I was like, yeah, it would be hard. So I was like to myself, listen, I'm just going to stick with Sihle for now, but tell them that we'll have them at some point.
No, for sure.
So do you think you would have gotten into music, even if you have the gift, if it wasn't because your dad is a legend in the industry?
Yes, I would have. I because I always saw myself in the beginning. I saw myself being an R&B artist. I started writing love songs. I love
You're
love.
getting into my question.
Sorry. Yeah, so I thought I was gonna be an R&B artist.
Yeah.
But then God was like, "Wait, hold on. This is where I want you to be. Type of thing. I want you to sing for me.
Yeah.
For my people. So I was just like, okay, cool. So I think I would have either way. It would have been more difficult. I can admit, it would have been more difficult if my dad wasn't who he is.
Yeah.
I probably would have had to, really stretch myself in a more harder way. It would have been more harder to kind of break in.
Yeah.
So because of him, breaking in was easier. But for me, it doesn't matter however you break in. The most important thing is how you stay in.
Yes.
How you stay consistent. So that's a true test of whether what you have is truly from God or is truly your gift.
That's true.
So yeah.
And I think it ties in even into corporate as well. Like if your father knows people, you can still get the job, but you can only keep it if you're good at it and you maintain a good attitude. So it doesn't really matter how you get into it. That's amazing. So, I was about to ask you, and I was thinking you're getting into my questions, that how do you navigate the balance between you reaching a wider audience and you actually doing God's work? Because when I look at music, obviously there is now a high demand for gospel music because people are getting to know Christ and all that.
Yeah.
But I think, like you're saying, I was telling my husband the other day that I think for me, Sihle looks like an R&B love type of songs. So when you said it, I was like, listen, this is what I was talking about. So how was that transition, and like what sort of things did you tell your mindset to say, listen, I cannot do both? Because surely another person would have had an excuse and just said, I can actually do both. I mean, God, I'm still praising Him, I'm still using my gift to sing love songs. So,
Good question. I still believe. Jeez, I still believe I can still do both. So this is where I am currently in my life, where I'm at a point where it's almost like a crossroad,
yeah.
where it's like, okay, so I wanna break out as a solo. I wanna do my own solo thing, not necessarily neglecting the brothers, but still having the bros, but like kind of establish myself in the music
You're
industry.
becoming like the Jonas Brothers now.
At the end of the
Don't
day,
break
guys, let's be
up.
honest.
We need you
My
together.
my little brother's already pushing his thing.
His own thing.
He's already like Benjamin Dube the third. You know, and he's doing well.
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah.
that's beautiful.
And he's got music out already. So, and I'm just like, yeah, no, it's time for me too. And I've always wanted, and I always wanted to be solo anyway.
Okay,
So I
cool.
feel like it's time now to kind of like show what God has given me, like my voice, me. People get to know who Sihle is through the music that I'll be doing. So I think the hardest part of navigating is because I'm a worship leader at church. So and at the same time, I've been thinking about my identity as an artist, how I want to shape myself, how I want my brand image
To look like.
to be, you know what I mean, public facing, versus the church, where at church I am a leader and I'm a minister, and it's like, okay, so how are you gonna do that? Because I still wanna sing about love.
Yes,
And so
please.
I still do. It's and God knows us, and so I feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna sing about. I'm gonna sing about God as who He is, as in being a loving God. So He's a loving God in relationships. He's a loving
Yes.
God in whatever you're going through in terms of personal, like personal things, struggles, whatever. He's loving even in there. He's loving even as. So it's just the umbrella is I am a child of God, and I go through things in life, and then God's love is the one that navigates me back to Him all the time. So God's presence, His grace, always navigates me back to Him all the time. I may not sing, one song may not be directly about Him, but the
it
fact that
reflects Him.
I'm singing about my struggle in my relationship, where I was heartbroken, and then I kind of related back to the fact that God actually was the one who got me through that. You know what I mean? He
That's
got me
true.
through this love thing with this girl. She hurt my feelings, but the remaining factor, or the remaining partner who was always there and never left was God.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of always related back to. So there's a song that I actually wrote recently after I went through the most, I would say, the most hurtful breakup in my whole entire life. So I wrote it last year when I was going through it, and it speaks about, or the song is called "Pray On." Basically speaks about, the chorus is "Pray On," which is great, because everything I say in the verse talks about the relationship. Everything I say in the verse talks about, seasons change, people change, people do too, and it's like, I thought that we would be, but things have now changed, whatever. I can't save you, only God can. You know what I mean? And then it goes back to the chorus, and it speaks about pray on. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, whatever you're going through, whoever you are, we need to seek God.
That's
At the end of the
true.
day, He is the one orchestrator of everything.
Yeah, and I think God himself is love, right? I mean, if you look at the whole Christianity journey, it's filled with so much love. So we cannot really separate our life experiences from who God is and how
Facts.
ultimately he shows us his love throughout those processes. So it's amazing I think it's different if we look at the love songs that are being sang from a circular setting, because those are more they don't
Worldly.
glorify God in any way.
worldly, yeah.
Yes. So I don't see any problem and like especially how you have spoken about it now.
Yeah.
So your music generally reflects principles of faith, hope, gratitude and all that. So how do you uphold those principles in your daily living yourself?
Man, you mean to my walk with Christ?
Yeah.
How I apply it. How can I think church really. I know a lot of, especially this generation that or this era or dispensation that we're in, is not. It's not really for church in the way it should be. Like we see church as just a place that we go to religiously. And I believe there's so much depth in communion, there's so much depth in coming together with one mind and one goal, which is just to worship and to hear from God,
Yeah.
to have an encounter. There's power in corporate worship and corporate praise. And so I really do value the coming together on Sundays. The coming together when we have men's conferences. We recently had a men's conference. It was amazing. That coming together of men trying to empower each other and do better, kind of in society, because there's a big kind of like blur or perception or stigma around men. For me, it's those type of coming togethers that keep me in check or keep me aligned. And obviously, I listen to worship music, gospel music all the time. So
That's beautiful.
So
Okay.
worship music, especially worship, I have a very soft spot for worship music. It really gets me in. It taps me in. So when I'm at my place, I play worship music. I cry to God alone. I worship and I cry and I pray. And I mean, and I have my time with Him, my fellowship, and with Him, spending time in the Word as well. But what I do the most is pray in the morning, pray before I sleep, worship during the day. If I'm driving somewhere, worship music. Like that's my thing. Also love music, I won't lie, but like that's how I really connect and keep aligned, because the Holy Spirit is ever alive and awake and aware and is forever present. So for me, tapping in and hearing from Him is through these things that make me feel closer to Him. Church, whatever's around church, worship, praise, and worship music, spending time with God every time I talk to Him. You know what I mean? Those are the things that keep me closer and inevitably aligned and
To Him.
within my purpose. Yeah.
I love that. So, you mentioned your heartbreak. I was minding my own business. But I wasn't going to talk about heartbreak, y'all. But
Jeez.
I was trying to mind my own business, and then you spoke about heartbreak, and I was like, listen, you've told me the
Shouldn't
story
have.
before.
Gosh.
You've told me
shut
the
my
story before. So now I'm really interested.
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
really want to know exactly what happened if you're not willing to share. But
No.
then I want to understand, how do you think you've grown from how you were feeling in the heartbreak between then and now? And what are you doing to prepare for your next relationship if you're not in one already?
Not going to say anything to that part.
He's not willing to tell us about
I'm
you
not
yet.
willing to tell my status.
Okay.
Because anything could have changed by the time anyone is watching this. You know what I'm
yes.
saying? You
True,
get what I'm saying?
true.
I could say I'm single now, but by the time someone watches it, it's
No,
like,
but then just let
Sihle's
them
off the
know so
market,
that they
sorry.
can know if they can Contact you.
Good tricky out here.
Okay,
It's
tell us.
tricky in the streets.
Tell us about your growth and your preparation.
Look, I've actually grown in a big way. There's so many lessons that I learned off of that relationship. I had never been in a relationship like that ever in my life. So that was the deepest love I've ever felt. So after that, I've never felt anything like it. So that's why it was very hard for me to move on from it. Like I was very in denial. It's just like, no, bruh, like this was supposed to be it. And even told
Like,
God,
I thought I
God,
had
like, what do you
reached.
mean?
Yeah, what's
like we
going
spoke about
on?
this. This was her. This is her. Like, why are you taking her away? Type of thing. Like, what's happening? Type of thing. So it was very hard for me. I think it took me about a year to really kind of like accept and grow and learn, self-introspect, and see what went wrong and
Yeah.
and even acknowledge things that she did wrong, I did wrong, and then and I literally prayed about it. I told God and prayed for her too. I was like, Lord, forgive us. Don't just forgive me, just forgive us for maybe the way we did things that may have not been the way we should have, and that has resulted to now us being apart. So whatever it may be, just forgive us, and continually kind of like protect us. If we're meant to be, please bring us back together. But if we're not, it's okay. You know what I mean? So I had to learn to grow in my prayer, because in the beginning my prayers were bring her back.
Yeah.
Like what do you mean, God? What does this mean? Type of thing.
You're sort of telling God what you
Yeah,
want him
I
to
was
do.
just like, Lord, like, yeah, like, come on. We spoke about this, and then I had to grow in my prayer where it, over the months and him counseling me and comforting me, being who he is through the power of the Holy Spirit, he was just kind of like getting me through it, like making me understand that no, everything that happens in your life, no matter how bad or hurtful, good, great, you know what I mean,
Happens for a
it all
reason.
works together for your good. You know what I mean? Everything. So this heartbreak is for your good, believe it or not. You know what I mean? You have sleepless nights, it's for your good. You cry to yourself to your sleep, those tears are planting, and they're not falling on dead ground. It's falling on ground that's fertile, because this is the season for you to plant. This is a season where I want you to myself, so I can tell you where I'm going to take you next, so I can show you why I needed to isolate you, why I needed to talk to you personally, why I needed you at your weakest point, so that I can show you that my strength is the only way for you to move on or to be sustained. And I am the actual prize. Like God
That's
was
a good
literally
one.
saying to me, I'm the prize.
Yeah.
She's not the prize. Whoever else you think is a prize is not the prize. I am the one that you need to focus on now. And I need you, basically God was building me, building my character, and building my faith, really making me, not that I wasn't focused on him before. Our relationship was very God-based. Like
Okay.
we
Because I was
both,
going to ask that for you. Like, do
No,
you
we
feel
are.
your relationship at some point sort of took you away from God, and it didn't?
It didn't. And she's also like a PK, and
Okay.
she loves God as well. And I loved that about her. That was the biggest thing I loved, that she loved God that much as I did too. So we were very God orientated in our relationship, but we were not perfect. There were things that we things that were happening that may have not been, for the benefit of our future. You know what I mean? So there needed to be some growth from both of our side, like from both of us. Like we needed to separate, I believe now, for growth to happen.
Yeah.
And whether that growth is meant for us together again at some point, it's okay. But if it's not, it's growth.
It's also fine.
It's still growth for
For the both of
for
you
the both
anyway.
of us. You know what I mean? For where we're both going in life. So I acknowledged that, and I was just like, Lord, okay, thank you. I actually
Yeah.
thanked him for how everything happened, though it was hurtful, but that pain
Yeah.
really made me stronger. That pain taught me, and I'm a better man today. I really am, and so we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what will
No,
happen.
you know what? I totally commend you
see.
for being able to see God of enduring that, because normally, like you were saying, we tend to tell God what we want, and if the answer that we want is not coming through, then
Yeah.
we push our own agendas, and we really go into a total place of darkness because we feel, God, you're not giving me back what I told you to give me back. So it's quite amazing that you were able to come out of it and learn from it. But anyway, we had drifted, so let's get back to you.
Back to me. Oh, it's still me, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Back to the other stuff.
Yes. So about acting and commercials and
Yeah.
all that, being someone with the Christian values that you uphold, which I do see even in your personality, in your speech as well, do you have certain roles that you will say to yourself, I'm not taking these roles? Or when it comes to acting, you're like, I need the screen, give me whatever you want.
Oh man.
It's been hard for me to answer that question too.
Yeah, it's
when I get
hard.
asked, because I'm like, God, okay, I have to be honest. I can give you a Bible answer.
Yeah. So I'll give you an honest answer.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've been thinking about. So when God gives you a gift, that gift is meant to make room for you, and that's biblical.
Yeah.
So however you apply that gift, at the end of the day, it will make room for you. It will create space for you. So I believe that actors who, for example, who are criminals or gangsters, or they are sexual in their roles or whatever, or murderers or serial killers, they are exercising what God had given them. You know what I mean? It's a gift that God gave them for them to portray a certain life or certain role or character in the movie,
Yeah.
for the message to come across. You know what I mean? So that message to be delivered, meaning the purpose of the movie and whatever is meant to be said in the story. So whether you want to take the role or not, it's up to you. So for me, you're not wrong if you're Christian and you decide to take a role of a murderer in a movie. You know what I'm saying? You're not, because that's your gift. You know what I mean? And that's what you're here for, to exercise your gift. And it doesn't reflect on your faith in God. As a matter of fact, that you can pray to God to keep you, even in this role. You know what I mean? Like, so that you don't get lost in the role, because sometimes as actors we get lost and it's hard to come back to
it's
yourself.
hard because you really get into character
get
when you're
into character.
acting.
So you literally can pray that, Lord, whatever spirit is behind this character, protect me from it. You know what I mean? This is the gift that I'm here to do. You know what I mean? And so protect me even in this role, so that when I'm done with it, I can still come back to myself, my identity in you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I personally have not turned down any roles. I've done a few acting gigs, and some of them was just easy for me. So I did have to do a kissing scene in one of soapies or series that I shot, and it's okay.
So listen,
So
I think,
you know what I mean? Like,
I think for series it's different, Sihle. Like, I think for me as well, I was saying that when I was on this series, I said you generally get scripts for 2 episodes ahead, or even 1 episode. You don't know how your character is going to unfold, so anything can come in, and now you can't drop out because you've been building this character, right?
Yeah.
So with series, you sort of don't really understand where your character is ending. But then when I'm watching certain movies, as much as the as much as the message is being passed, I always say to myself, does the sex scene have to be so long?
Okay.
You can always shorten it and just make it like we all
Facts.
know what's
There's
gonna
ways, yeah. There's ways to cheat.
like,
Cheat,
yeah, just let it. So when I start seeing such, I'm like, okay, then this is probably not in line with my values.
Yeah,
That
facts.
is if I know.
Oh no. Okay, fine. No, look, I understand. And that's totally okay. Like that I definitely understand. For example, so if it's commercials and it's like an alcohol
Yeah.
brand commercial that I'm, you know, costed for whatever. For me, what am I in that commercial? What am I doing? Am I
Promoting
doing
alcohol?
this no? Am I doing this the normal?
Pretending to sip.
So good, like, you know what I mean? Or am I a featured extra where I'm at? Maybe I'm, you know what I mean? I'm part of the group of friends. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And maybe in the scene, it's just friends who are just chilling, and then, you know what I mean? And like around the whole setting of you know, lounging, whatever. And then the alcohol is just a product placement, you know, there, and you have the alcohol, the bottle shots, whatever.
Yeah.
But then I'm part of the featured extras where it's just gents, you know, who look good, and you know,
It's like, what are you doing in
Yeah,
the-
it's like, how am I part of it? Am I consuming the product, or am I just backing the brand story? As in, so for example, Shivers. I shouldn't have mentioned. Am I allowed to mention brands? I don't know. Okay, maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't.
No, we can cut it out.
Okay, so an alcoholic brand will possibly kind of have a story of keep it moving, or stay winning. That's the story that they want to deliver messaging to the target market. But then the product is just the additional.
It's just backing
It's a
the
brand
story.
extension.
Yeah.
To no, we're saying if you are a student, we're saying keep winning. You know what I mean? This is what we're saying as a brand. We back you for what you're doing, whatever. And this is the alcohol brand that backs young people who are very ambitious and
Yeah.
want to level up in life.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying? So I
get you.
back their story, being part of it. I
Yeah.
don't back. It doesn't mean I'm part of it. Means
Consume.
I'm saying, hey guys, drink and get drunk. I'm not saying that. I'm backing the narrative of stay winning.
Yeah.
If you're a young person who's ambitious, let's do that. Let's keep it going. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not consuming alcohol on the commercial. I'm going to be part of that commercial.
I hear you. No, I totally
You get
hear
what I'm
you, and I
saying?
totally agree with you. But one thing about you that I really love is how you use all your gifts. Like the gifts that God has placed in your hands, they're not in vain. You use them not just for yourself, you use them for everybody else. And I think that's what God wants us to do with our gifts, to be able to use them and explore our gifts as well. So it's amazing. But how do you stay floating in such a competitive industry? Because the entertainment industry, I personally sometimes just get discouraged, and I'm like, listen, I've got a 9 to 5, I'm out. And then I get back.
You know,
So
that's such a good question, Naki.
how do you stay motivated?
Yeah, geez, how do I stay motivated? You know, I think I want to go back to the whole juggling of a lot of gifts thing, and that will speak to how I stay motivated. I think it's very hard, like you say, you know, when you have a lot to give, you have a lot to offer. Personally, I really feel like God has given me a lot to work with, which is great. But at the same time, it's like, where do I start, Lord? And then God is like, no, just go
Just
where I
do
say
it.
go. Where I say go, where there's an opening, and you know this is from me. You know what I mean? Just go, because that door will open up to the other door, and the other door will open up to the other door, and that will give you an opportunity to actually end up using all these gifts that I've given to you. So luckily with me, most of my gifts are around the entertainment industry, you know, and the ministry. So music, ministry, entertainment, and they all kind of go hand in
They're
hand.
sort of linked.
You know what I'm saying? Link. So luckily, it's kind of like one family tree. But it's still hard because like how do you kind of like apply yourself? Where do you apply yourself? At the same time, I have the 9 to 5 as well. You know, I'm a creative in the advertising industry, and I have my fallback, like
Yeah.
you said. And it's like sometimes I think to myself, maybe I should just fall
just
back
stick
and go,
to.
and not stick to, but like let me just do some 9 to 5 for a bit.
Yeah,
save
and
some
then,
money because it really is sustainable.
It is.
Financially. That's the thing that I've noticed because the entertainment industry is up and down. It's just like
fluctuates a lot.
it changes. You know, 1 month you're good, the other month
Nothing comes
it's
through.
dead. It's quiet, and it's like, what am I? How am I
do I
gonna
do
pay my
now?
bills? Then you go, okay, oh yeah, I still have my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Actually, let me go back to my 9 to 5. So it's so weird. It's so weird, but I pray about it. My biggest prayer that keeps me motivated is that, Lord, please, like, I want to wake up doing what you want me to do.
Yes.
I want to be sustained by where you want me to be.
Where you want me to be? That's amazing. Yeah.
So like, please work it out for my good, so that eventually I don't have to do this. How can I put it? Lack of a better word, prostituting.
Like you're hopping from
I'm just
gift to
out
another.
here. Yeah, I'm just out here like fishing. Like, okay, well, what can give me money? Okay, that can give me money.
That looks like
okay,
there's more money
wait,
in
this
it.
is gonna give me money. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm praying that, Lord, please, like, let it all work in harmony, and to a point where I can actually apply myself every day, waking
Yeah.
up and just apply myself in a way that it will fulfill my soul. Like, I know I'm happy. This is what, though challenges will be there, but I'm doing
What you want me to
you
do.
created me to do on this earth. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
sustaining me. It's keeping me. You know, so that's what I'm praying for. And but the answer that God gave me was that just keep showing up.
Yeah, I think you have to show up,
Keep
and
showing up. It will happen.
it will
will happen.
actually, like, there is a reward.
Yeah,
And
there's
that's
a
one thing
reward.
I've noticed, that if God has placed, because I'm also that way. I'm a creative. I use both, like, my left and right side of the brain. But what I've noticed is when God places gifts in your hands, He will give you the ability to be able to use them. It will not be easy. It's a process as well. One thing we
It's
should
not
know
meant to
about
be
God
easy.
is, He is not a magician.
No,
Okay, God
it's
is all
not.
about process.
Yep.
So if He has placed a gift in your hand and things are not really working, or you're facing hurdles, doesn't mean, okay, God, maybe you don't really want me to
doesn't
do
want you
it.
there, yeah.
You know, it just means He is probably even preparing you for that bigger thing to come. So it's never a no when God says not now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
So
a delay
that's
is not a denial. That's
denial.
what they say. Yeah.
that's true.
So it's
That's
very
true.
true. It's very true.
Awesome. So now I want to move into your relationship with your dad,
Oh, that's okay.
the
Cool.
legend in the gospel music industry, Bishop
Yeah.
Benjamin Dube. So, of course, we have spoken about how he's inspired you to get into music, and how you are doing so well to just take after him, and you guys are all, flourishing in that area. But what was your relationship with him outside music growing up, and how is it like now?
He was a democratic father. He was a father figure that was more like a friend. So my dad is not strict. He has firm, kind of
Values.
like morals and firm ideologies, rather, let me say. Like, he has firm rules in how he believes we should carry ourselves as young people who are for God. So though he was very democratic and he listened to us, but at the same time, when it was time to put his word down, his word was heard, and my dad's words cut. So, like, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
He has. I think I get it from him as well. Like, he has a certain way around words. He has ways to. He chooses his words, the words he uses, and they penetrate. Like, he doesn't have to give you a hiding
Yeah.
to actually get through to you. So that's how well my dad did it. So his words were the hiding, because it will mess up with your mind. It will make you think. Like, for example, growing up as young boys, we want to explore, we want to go partying and clubbing, of which we did, But my dad would always kind of like send us messages. So when it was around my 11:30 maybe to 12, and it's like curfew time maybe.
You're like, the party's just starting.
You know what I mean? It's like,
What
yo,
do you
you know,
mean?
he would send us messages. Me
Yeah.
and my older brother, because me and my older brother were the most close. We're still close. Because our age gap is
Closer.
pretty close. Yeah. So he'd send us messages, and he'd be like, "Remember, you're not of this world. Remember who you are."
Sure. And you're like, time
Random.
to go
Imagine
home.
randomly.
And you're at a party.
It's like doof doof. Remember who you are.
Like,
You're not of this world.
Sir.
Pops. And then you think, right? And you're like, oh, shucks, yeah. Jeez. I'm
not.
I'm not. You know, I'm not. I'm cut from a different cloth, you know. Then you think about it, just it's almost like the spirit kind of like convicts you in that moment, you know. And it really worked. You know, it kept us intact. It kept us from wilding out, you know, and from doing things that we would regret in the long run, you know. So we made mistakes, but thankfully, because of his style of fatherhood, being a father, as in like the spiritual father and a father biologically, he did it well in marrying the both of it, in a sense that it really made us look up to him and seek kind of like, you know, advice and seek ways to actually be. I really saw him as a hero, as I really saw him. Besides the music, like whenever he was my hero as a musician, but he was my hero also as just a man of
How
God.
he conducts
and how he
himself.
conducted himself, how he responded to conflict, because he went through a lot. My dad went through a lot, you know, divorce and a lot of conflict in the music industry. You know what I mean? Like dry seasons, and how he carried himself throughout all of that. Because although I was young, but I could see it.
Yeah, you could see what he's going
There
through.
were times where we actually struggled, you know, and I think about it now as I'm older, and I'm like, we were broke, you know, we were struggling for real.
Yeah,
like,
and you got through it though.
You know, and my dad had ways of making us
Yeah.
not feel that, not feel the poverty, instead still feel the warmth,
Sure, that's
still
so
feel
beautiful.
like God is still with us, you know, still feel like we're okay. You know what I mean? And whereas we were not. And when I think about it, I'm like, we were not okay, you know? But I think God covered us in a very, because I really believe that God kept my dad, you know, from possibly losing it, you know. A lot of things that could have happened. That may have caused him to kind of lose it.
To even
you know?
lose track with not
Yeah.
just you, but even with God as
Yeah,
well.
he could have lost. He could have lost it, but he didn't. And so I really acknowledge and thank God for that in him. His character is very intact, and I kind of like that's who he's been to us as his sons. Just a template, a blueprint on what a man should be, how he should treat a woman, and how he should be as a man of God, and how he should be in the world, in society. He's not perfect. My dad is not
Just like
perfect,
everyone else.
but yeah, just like everyone else. But the way he responded to conflict and to the storms, I salute him for that, and that's what made me who I am today.
I mean, it's incredible to have, I mean, in a society where a lot of people do not even have fathers that are present, they could even be present physically and absent emotionally as well. So it's very incredible that he has shaped the man that you all are today.
Present. And he was very,
Yeah, that's amazing. But how would you say your relationship with your dad has helped you to see God and see life in general?
I think it. So it's not. That's not a difficult question to answer. I think he showed it in his actions. So it's not. He was never a theory type of father. In terms of like, when I say theory, I mean by the book. Like
It was practical
he
as
was
well.
practical. He actually portrayed what the book is saying we should be. Like so when you look to him, you could see that's a great example. So he was a actual practical example of what of how we should be. So it wasn't hard for us to learn how to be a man, a good man, a godly man, a respectful man, a man who kind of like who's loving, you know what I'm saying? He was that. You could see it in the way he treated things, and so I think for me that I just had to look at him. That was it. I didn't really have to every day 7 o'clock Bible study, guys, or devotion, whatever. He was never that guy. Like yes, would go to church every Sunday,
Yeah.
but he was never you know what I mean, autocratic. He was never like, yeah, read this verse, okay. Whatever, okay.
Yes.
We're whatever. There's so many households, Christian households, that are very religious.
Religious, yeah.
The parents are very religious minded people. And that affects a lot of young people as they grow up. It draws them away from God.
Because they see Christianity as this very harsh way of living. Like,
Rigid.
dude, please don't do that.
Yeah,
And it's a lot of instructions.
If you don't do that, hell. If you don't do that, hell. If you don't do that, things, hell. You know what I mean?
True.
And it's like, no, God is loving. If you don't do that, grace. If you don't do that, grace. More grace.
It's beautiful.
If you don't do that, he'll still be there.
True.
He
He loves you regardless.
He'll follow you until you get to a point where you find and understand him for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
And that's actually amazing what you're saying.
Yeah,
Because
so
how
it's a
you
relationship.
view, it's a relationship. And I think how
relationship.
you view your dad is how you view God. If your dad is strict, then you see God as the strict father who's
Facts.
unforgiving.
Facts.
If you view your dad as a provider, then you generally go to God and say, God, you're my provider. This is what I'm waiting
That's so
for you.
good.
If your father is
That's good,
gracious,
yeah.
you see God as a very gracious father. So
Yeah.
just how your father has raised you or your relationship with him also sort of affects how you
How you
and
view
God
God.
relate.
Yeah.
Because God is the father, right?
He's the father. Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's a great point. You put it very well. So I think that's just what it's been. And though I would see some of his mistakes, but I'd still kind of be like, I'd come back to myself and say, he's still a
He's
man.
human.
He's still a man. He's still human. That's why I really feel for a lot of men of God who are in the spotlight, and then they do some mistakes or whatever, or people then take that one thing or two things that they did wrong and glorify it as being, you see these men of God, this is how they are. Whereas but the man of God, behind the man of God is just a child.
Yeah.
Is a boy or a girl who's also trying to find their way, in life. You know what I'm saying? Who's also really crying out to God to help them in their private battles. You know what I mean? Because everyone has private battles. It's how you face your private battles that allows you to publicly have longevity, or you know what I mean, or publicly be seen as a genuine man or woman of God. So
True.
So I think that's the lens we should be looking at this whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I'm moving into another
that's-
outside of your question, but
It's true what
but
you're saying. I
that's-
totally agree.
That's how I see my dad, and yeah, that's how I've kind of learned and grown.
No, that's beautiful. He's raised you guys very well, and it's amazing. So just to wrap up, right? So, obviously, being raised by a legend like your father comes with its own challenges, right? So, do you ever find yourself people sort of overlooking your success or the good things that you've done and assume it's because of his name, that's why you're doing well? And do you find it sort of hard to follow through the name that he's made?
In the beginning, yes, because the expectation was, are these boys going to sing as good as their dad? Are these boys going to carry themselves like their dad?
Your dad
does?
did.
And also, are these boys going to be kind of the next of kin when it comes to being ministers or preachers. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who's next? Who's going to run with the
Who's
baton?
taking over?
That used to be a pressure. It used to be a thing that I used to think about because a lot of it was spoken to us, you know. But as I grew up, I realized that I haven't told God about it. I was like, Lord, please allow me to walk in my journey. Like my dad's journey was my dad's journey, honestly. And, you know, he was the vehicle for me to come here on this earth. And you sent me here for my own, you know what I mean? Purpose. You have predestined and pre-planned for me here on earth. And so, yes, my father is definitely a
great example
that I can look to be able to kind of like learn the fundamentals of you know, the morals, ethics, and, you know, learn more about you through him. But at the end of the day, please allow me to walk my journey. Like, show me where I'm supposed to, how I'm supposed to leave my mark, you know what I mean, on this earth. How I'm supposed to make the difference on this earth and leave it not the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how I had to grow up to that mentality, you know, and avoid trying to mimic my dad, trying to mimic how he sings or trying to mimic how he dresses or how he's kind of like whatever, you know what I mean? Being like him, you know, though I look to him and I look up to him, but still I have to take on my own cross.
Yes. No, and you seem to have found your own identity outside your dad. So you're doing really well. Of course, he has shaped the person you are, but you have branched out very well as well. And I'm sure he is very, you know, pleased and proud of, of you and how far you've gone. Yeah. So just lastly, please tell everybody where they can find you, what sort of gigs they can call you up for.
Geez, this is the important part, right? It's like,
yes, sell yourself. You've got the whole camera.
Yeah. No, y'all can find me on social, Instagram. It's actually just search Sihle Dube, or my handle is only one Destin, which is DESTINE. So it's only one Destin. And then on Twitter, it's Destin underscore D1. So DESTINE_D1 on Twitter. Actually, I recently got onto TikTok. It's like, you know, it's so hard. But anyway, if you can find me on TikTok, don't expect a lot from me, but you can find me on there. Also, only one Destin, the same as Instagram. Look, I'm out here just trying to show, represent God on this earth using my gifts. I'm a musician, singer-songwriter. I'm an actor. I'm a presenter. I'm an MC. I am a minister in worship. This is who I am, and this is who I'll always be. So if you see something in me and you see yourself connecting and collaborating with me, reach out to me. Let's do God's work.
Yes,
Let's
please.
make things happen.
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
It was amazing having you here, Sihle. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody else for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. And do follow Sihle on all the handles that he's provided to us. And do book him, please. Let me know and give me my cut. Thank you.
Yeah. A young 10%.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Naki. God bless you.